This episode is brought to you by Paddle. Don't settle for less when you can have more, MOR, with Paddle, your merchant of record. Eliminate the headaches of payments, grow your revenue everywhere, and focus on what you do best, building your product. Get more revenue with less hassle at paddle.com. This episode is sponsored by Code Crafters. As an engineer myself, I know that the best way to learn how to code is to build something new. But sometimes it's hard to come up with project ideas as well as find a community of folks on the same learning path. That's where Code Crafters comes in. With Code Crafters, you can build something that actually stimulates your mind while strengthening your engineering fundamentals. And you can do so by using your favorite IDE or tools to code and build your own Git, Redis, or HTTP server in the language of your choice. Languages like Rust, C++, or Go. Code Crafters is designed to optimize your learning experience as it's designed for productivity. Sign up today and become a better, more confident programmer. Visit codestory.co/codecrafters. That's CODECRAFTERS to get started and get 40% off your upgrade. Okay, guys, I got a serious update for you. You heard me talk about SEMA and the product roadmap radar. I just caught up with Matt, who's the founder there, and he gave me the latest on what they are building. And my mind is blown. The team at SEMA are taking things to the next level. Built around the core of the product roadmap radar, i.e. code and Jira analysis, they are building agent orchestration across the product lifecycle. Picture this. You hook up this system same as before, i.e. integrate your repository and your backlog, Jira today. From that point, SEMA's agent analyzes the codebase and makes suggestions as to what needs to be done next and what could improve, optimize the product. Then, if those tasks are routine, the agent assigns the task to a coding agent, think something like Devin, to complete the minutia, while assigning the human-in-the-loop task to engineers themselves. What you end up with is engineers focusing on building core competency features, while AI handles all the rest. If you're not salivating right now, I don't think you fully understand what this means. But here's what I would suggest. Right now, their product is in a closed beta, and SEMA is looking for folks to sign up for their Product Intelligence Advisory Board. This gives you the opportunity to use the product, give feedback, help shape the future of what's built. Oh, and not to mention additional free usage of the product potentially through the end of 2026. So, if that fits your workflow and toolset, you need to reach out today. Go to codestory.co/nextlevel, NEXTLEVEL, and reach out to Matt at SEMA to learn more and join the Product Intelligence Advisory Board. Again, that's codestory.co/nextlevel. This episode is sponsored by Postman. Postman is the world's leading API platform, trusted by 98% of the Fortune 500 and over 40 million developers. Tap into APIs from 18,000 plus companies to power agents that make smarter decisions. Learn more at postman.com/podcast/codestory. This message is sponsored by Melee Search. Today, search isn't just a feature, it's a cornerstone. And Melee Search gives your users the experience they need with lightning-fast performance, full-text search, AI usage, and multimodal capabilities. Melee Search delivers relevant results in less than the blink of an eye. Use the promo code CODESTORY at checkout to get 2 months free at meleesearch.com. That's MEILI search.com. This episode is brought to you by Paddle. Don't settle for less when you can have more, MOR, with Paddle, your merchant of record. Eliminate the headaches of payments, grow your revenue everywhere, and focus on what you do best, building your product. Get more revenue with less hassle at paddle.com. This episode is brought to you by Propel Auth. People take authentication for granted, but it's more than how customers log into your product. It's how you manage your relationship with your users. The easiest way to make authentication your advantage is to use Propel Auth. Propel Auth is more than just functional. It's powerful. With tools like Managed UIs, Enterprise SSO, robust user management features, and actionable insights, Propel Auth adapts as your product grows. And the best part? When auth is effortless, your team can focus on scaling, not troubleshooting. That means more releases, happier customers, and more growth for your business. Save dev time, win over your customers, and propel your business forward with PropelAuth. Check them out at propelauth.com. That's PROPELAUTH.com.
I have a great co-founder. His name's Alex Salazar, who actually sold his last company to Okta. So I had a bit of a leg up. One thing he did that wasn't even related to authorization was he kept telling me not to build things until we talked to a ton of customers. And it wasn't something that I had done as a developer in my career a lot, was to go talk to customers and ask them, would you pay me $100,000 for this before you ever built it? And to get a level of validation, right, before you really went too far down a path. And so when you say V1, really I have 10 V1s, and they were all slightly different variants of similar things. My name is Sam Partee, CTO and co-founder of Arcade.dev.
This is Code Story, a podcast bringing you interviews with tech visionaries.
Spent 6 months moonlighting.
There's nothing on the back end.
Who share what it takes to change an industry.
I don't exactly know what to do next.
Took many goes to get right.
Who built the teams that have their back.
A company is its people.
The teams help each other achieve more.
Most proud of our team.
Keeping scalability top of mind.
All that infrastructure was
Yes, we've been fighting it as we grow.
Total waste of time.
The stories you don't read in the headlines.
It's not an easy thing to achieve, mind
Took
you.
it off the shelf and dusted it off and tried it again.
To ride the ups and downs of the startup life.
You need to really want it. It's not just about technology.
All this and more on Code Story.
I'm your host, Noah Labhart, and today how Sam Partee is enabling you to go beyond chat and securely connect your AI to the world. Sam Partee started out his love for tech and engineering by working on cars. After many years of working on cars and even starting his own car stereo installation business when he was young, he decided that cars were finite and moved on to computers. He fell in love with the space, and the rest is history. A history filled with supercomputers, AI, distributed training, Redis, and the lot. Outside of tech, he loves to take long hikes with his snowy husky. Sam and his team built a prior solution, an agent to solve bugs for you. They ran into a litany of problems in doing so, but eventually figured out that there was a dire need for an authorization protocol for the activities that agents wanted to do on your behalf. Fast forward, and they were working with Anthropic to define these auth protocols. This is the creation story of Arcade.
What we call Arcade right now is an MCP platform. It's almost funny to me calling it an MCP platform because we started it before MCP. I should probably explain what MCP is for people who don't know. Model Context Protocol, started by Anthropic for AI agents to be able to call tools. Arcade is a MCP platform, meaning that you can have your agents access N numbers of tools through Y numbers of servers that you can get from anywhere around the world, manage them all through Arcade, and then Arcade will provide you both an execution environment and an authorization environment so that your agents can be able to access resources and services as you on your behalf in a safe and secure way. So if you finally want an agent that's actually a personal assistant that, doesn't just go out and read Google search, but reads your emails and sends a response, then you should use Arcade. We started back when models weren't even producing JSON very well, right? So you got to remember, tool calling wasn't so obviously the methodology of agents in the future. LangChain was still on chains. You had people saying that RAG was all you needed, which is almost comical now. I always knew that we were going to grow up from that, but it wasn't always obvious that tool calling was going to be the thing until we tried to make our first idea, which was a SRE agent. So an agent that would autonomously solve bugs for you. And we really just ran into a litany of problems. It did work. It it was pretty cool. You can think of it like a cross between Big Panda type alerting system and like a query engine. One thing that we got from all the feedback was people saying things like, how did you connect to Datadog? How did you get my Grafana dashboard? Did you log in as me? How did the agent do that on my behalf? And it was something we unknowingly did in the process that then when we started to hear feedback on, it was really obvious that it was an unsolved problem. If you go back and look at the LangChain documentation for the Google toolkit, step 2 was to go roll your own authorization service and save your credentials.json to file, which is a terrible security risk. And so things like that, it ended up becoming pretty obvious that there was a dire need for an authorization for the activities that agents wanted to be able to do on your behalf. And this was different than the kind of business logic authorization you had in the past with the previous generation, because you couldn't separate this runtime authorization need, right? It's something an agent wants to do on your behalf from the action. And so for the first time, there was this inextricable link between these two things that we stumbled on. And then we ended up making a protocol kind of around it. We didn't call it a protocol. Then MCP comes out and solidifies the approach. We're working with Anthropic now to introduce a lot of the auth pieces that we have. And now it's a solidified approach. Back when we used to think we didn't even know if models were going to be able to produce JSON consistently. That sounds funny now with structured outputs being so consistent. But now we have a pretty solidified approach to tool calling that seems like it is the pathway for agents to be able to perform both context gathering and actions for the foreseeable future. And Arcade's right in the middle of that.
I would love to dive into the MVP for, the first version of Arcade, that first version you worked through and built. How long did it take you to build, and what sort of tools were you using to bring it to life?
I have a great co-founder. His name's Alex Salazar, who actually sold his last company to Okta. So I had a bit of a leg up. One thing he did that wasn't even related to authorization was he kept telling me not to build things until we talked to a ton of customers. And it wasn't something that I had done as a developer in my career a lot, was to go talk to customers and ask them, would you pay me $100,000 for this before you ever built it? And to get a level of validation, right, before you really went too far down a path. And so when you say V1, really I have 10 V1s, and they were all slightly different variants of similar things. The funny part was all those variants had a couple of things in common, which was the tool calling and execution platform and authorization platform. And that was the consistent piece amongst all of them, which the V1 of was, all of the infrastructure is in Go now, but it was all in Python back then. And it was before you could really code with an agent very well, or at least I didn't rely on them at all back then. It was a lot of looking through data sets, combing through examples, manually labeling tool calls to try and figure out certain patterns and sequences of tool calls that worked and what didn't work. Because that was what you had to do back then to get consistency. And that first version was really just a set number of things that we knew would work and look good in a demo when we showed it, to make sure that we showed our best face when we go out and tell people this is what we want to build. Is this something that you would pay for? And so that was the first version approach that we took. That really came from Alex's playbook, who has learned from some of the best, Andy Radcliffe and Mike Volpe, and lots of different great investors that he's learned from, embedded that approach in us. And it worked really well. It was able to accelerate us to the point where we got ahead very quickly.
This episode is brought to you by Paddle. As a startup, you face unique challenges to stay competitive. You and your team need to stay focused on your product, not your payments. You need to do more, MOR, and DIY less. With Paddle. Paddle is your merchant of record, becoming the seller of record for your SaaS transactions, enabling your team to focus on what's important, your product. Paddle handles all payment management across multiple gateways and methods, taking ownership of tax liability while remaining compliant with regulations across all markets. The platform handles all aspects of SaaS billing models, upgrades, add-on, trials, and more. Let's look at the results. MOR revenue optimization is built into Paddle and accounts for up to 16% higher conversion rates, reduced payment failures, localized pricing, and churn prevention, recovering 40% of cancellations. Their developer-friendly tools are API first with comprehensive documentation, removing the burden from your engineers. With Paddle as your merchant of record, you'll generate more revenue, find and keep more customers, grow faster, and stay compliant everywhere. So what are you waiting for? Get more revenue with less hassle at paddle.com. Okay, guys, I got a serious update for you. You heard me talk about SEMA and the product roadmap radar. I just caught up with Matt, who's the founder there, and he gave me the latest on what they are building. And my mind is blown. The team at SEMA are taking things to the next level. Built around the core of the product roadmap radar, i.e. code and Jira analysis, they are building agent orchestration across the product lifecycle. Picture this. You hook up this system same as before, i.e. integrate your repository and your backlog, Jira today. From that point, SEMA's agent analyzes the codebase and makes suggestions as to what needs to be done next and what could improve, optimize the product. Then, if those tasks are routine, the agent assigns the task to a coding agent, think something like Devin, to complete the minutia, while assigning the human-in-the-loop task to engineers themselves. What you end up with is engineers focusing on building core competency features, while AI handles all the rest. If you're not salivating right now, I don't think you fully understand what this means. But here's what I would suggest. Right now, their product is in a closed beta, and SEMA is looking for folks to sign up for their Product Intelligence Advisory Board. This gives you the opportunity to use the product, give feedback, help shape the future of what's built. Oh, and not to mention additional free usage of the product, potentially through the end of 2026. So, if that fits your workflow and toolset, you need to reach out today. Go to codestory.co/nextlevel, NEXTLEVEL, and reach out to Matt at SEMA to learn more and join the Product Intelligence Advisory Board. Again, that's codestory.co/nextlevel. This episode is brought to you by Vention, the engineering partner you need after the MVP launch. So you built fast with Lovable. You shipped your MVP, impressed investors, and maybe even landed your first users. Now comes the hard part. Vention's AI discovery workshops are built for teams who have moved fast and now need to figure out what's actually worth scaling. Led by senior engineers and an in-house CTO, the workshop helps you pressure test your use case, catch gaps early, and build a roadmap your team can actually deliver on, with the kind of engineering support that brings peace of mind, not second guessing. Lovable got you live. Vention gets you ready to scale. Go to ventionteams.com or book your AI workshop now at ventionteams.com/codestory and go from idea to impact faster. That's ventionteams.com/codestory. This episode is sponsored by Fullscale. Let me guess, your team's shipping sprint velocity looks good, but you're still asking yourself, is anyone actually thinking about the why? Matt Watson's been there. He's the founder behind Vin Solutions and Stackify, and now runs Fullscale with a 300-plus person dev team. And after 2 decades in the trenches, he's seen the same pattern over and over. Smart developers stuck in systems that reward ticket-taking instead of real thinking. That's why he wrote Product Driven, a playbook for tech leaders who are done babysitting developers and ready to build teams that own the outcome. If you're tired of translating every feature, doing all the thinking, or wondering why your smart team is still stuck, this is the fix. Go to productdriven.com/codestory to grab the book and get the bonus toolkit to help your team shift from output to outcomes, like 12 bold ways to get your retros out of robot mode. Again, that's productdriven.com/codestory. This episode is sponsored by MailySearch. In today's digital landscape, search isn't just a feature, it's a cornerstone, and you need a user experience that drives customer satisfaction. You need MailySearch. MailySearch has lightning-fast performance, returning answers in less than 50 milliseconds. Yeah, you heard that right. Faster than the blink of an eye. The open-source AI search engine is plug-and-play, so you can get up and running in minutes with smart presets, allowing you to start searching through your data with zero configuration. MailySearch utilizes advanced full-text search and AI, ensuring your results are ultra-relevant with semantic depth. It's multimodal, supporting images, videos, and audio, along with being federated, i.e. searching across multiple data sources. And it's developer-friendly. Whether you're building a content-rich website or enterprise application, MailySearch delivers the experience your users expect and deserve. For a limited time, CodeStory users can get 2 months free. Use the promo code CODESTORY, all one word, at checkout. Just go to MailySearch.com and get started today. That's MEILI search.com. So let's move forward then. I'm curious about how you progressed from that point and matured the product. And, I liken that to like, how did you build your roadmap? Like I wrap that in that question. How did you go about deciding that, okay, this is the next most important thing to build or to address with Arcade?
There were two main problems that I saw. The first was authorization, which is an obvious one. An agent could never really do anything as you. It could do things for you, but the real benefit comes when it does your work as you. And so that was the blocker that we ended up settling on. But there was another one actually too that we've now addressed, which was that tools couldn't do anything. If you think about it, most tools were inside of the client application, inside of the agent application. They were constrained to the compute environment, to the language environment, to the runtime environment, all of that, of the client application. You couldn't scale them, you couldn't separate them. It was a locked-in environment. And that kind of runtime problem, MCP basically tries to address by separating it out. That's one of the main points of it, really, is to be able to separate those out. And that was another one that we saw, but we first were convinced that more people, and this has become true, I think, were blocked by the auth piece. More people wanted the unblock of the auth piece than they did the unblock of the ability to run a computationally expensive tool. So that was the biggest kind of first decision that shaped the roadmap. I will say I got extremely lucky with my first few hires. I say lucky because there's always a part of luck in it, right? And my team is just great, and they were auth talent, infrastructure talent, DevOps talent in spades. And so it was very nice to be able to say, here's this idea, how best can I implement this with a group of really talented people, and come to a good roadmap at the beginning.
So let's talk about the people then. Let's talk about your team. How did you build your team? What did you look for in those people to indicate that they are the winning horses to join you?
One of the superpowers of anybody can have is to know what you don't know. And I like to think that I know what I don't know, and that I didn't know auth well enough. And so the first person I wanted to go find had to be the best in auth, like top tier. And I went and was very convincing to Nate Barbatini, who is just an absolute wizard when it comes to both building and auth. Who has 1 million views on an auth video on YouTube? It's a pretty dry subject, let's be honest. Like 1 million views? That's got to be the only one with 1 million views. He's just really talented and really sharp, and he's a really hard worker. And so getting him as employee 1, or basically co-founder 3, is definitely a blessing. He was the CTO beforehand at a company called Cobbler. After that, I was able to get 2 engineers that I'd worked with in the past, Sterling Dreyer and Eric Giston, who not only had I worked with, but I knew were incredible infrastructure and open source engineers as well, which was very important to the motion. So those 2 I had worked with in the past, either through partnerships with Redis, which was what Sterling had been, and then Eric I actually had hired at HPE. And so I hired Eric again because he's an incredible engineer, works very hard. And so that was my first 3 and it's gotten even better since then. The team's grown, but getting those first 3 on board really early and having that kind of caliber was really great.
This episode is brought to you by Propel-Auth. People take authentication for granted, but it's more than how customers log into your product. It's how you manage your relationship with your users. The easiest way to make authentication your advantage is to use Propel-Auth. Propel-Auth is more than just functional. It's powerful. With tools like Managed UIs, Enterprise SSO, robust user management features, and actionable insights, Propel-Auth adapts as your product grows. And the best part? When auth is effortless, your team can focus on scaling, not troubleshooting. That means more releases, happier customers, and more growth for your business. Save dev time, win over your customers, and propel your business forward with Propel-Auth. Check them out at propelauth.com. That's PROPELAUTH.com. This episode is sponsored by Search. In today's digital landscape, search isn't just a feature, it's a cornerstone, and you need a user experience that drives customer satisfaction. You need Search. Melee Search has lightning fast performance, returning answers in less than 50 milliseconds. Yeah, you heard that right. Faster than the blink of an eye. The open source AI search engine is plug and play, so you can get up and running in minutes with smart presets, allowing you to start searching through your data with zero configuration. Melee Search utilizes advanced full-text search and AI, ensuring your results are ultra-relevant with semantic depth. It's multimodal, supporting images, videos, and audio, along with being federated, i.e. searching across multiple data sources. And it's developer-friendly. Whether you're building a content-rich website or enterprise application, Melee Search delivers the experience your users expect and deserve. For a limited time, CodeStory users can get 2 months free. Use the promo code CODESTORY, all one word, at checkout. Just go to meleesearch.com and get started today. That's MEILI search.com. So this will be interesting to hear where scalability kind of comes into play or where there's been tension with scalability. Have there been any interesting areas where you've had to fight scale as you've grown?
The most interesting thing actually isn't even technical. It's how different the developer relations game is now. It is not you write a blog post about, your work and everybody reads your blog post anymore. It's you have influencers and YouTube and Claude's out here with Instagram ads. I am not really a social media, I use Twitter, but really not a social media person. So it was very different for me in seeing how DevRel on this level, which is not something that I had really sunk my teeth into until starting this company, how different it is than I thought it would be in really getting the company's name out there and scaling that kind of go-to-market side of things. It's different than I expected it to be. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a scale challenge per se, but scaling that go-to-market effort and the kind of bottoms up side has been an interesting difference than I thought it would be.
So, Sam, as you step out on the balcony and look across all that you've built thus far with Arcade, what are you most proud of?
There's one thing I can't say on here, which check back in 3 weeks, but I will say, honestly, the team. I know that's nothing about the product, but it's very rare that anyone, whether it's their company or not, gets to go into work every day and go, wow, I'm learning so much. And I started it, and I get to go in and be the dumbest person in the room sometimes. And that was my goal. That was what I wanted to be able to do. Is I'm happy when they write over my code. We make jokes about it, and they love saying, "Oh, we're taking out another piece." But it's incredible to be able to have such a diverse and talented group and really be able to learn from all of them at the same time. That's probably what I'm most proud of, because it's not something I thought would be easy for me, and not that it necessarily was, but I'm very glad that it's gone well.
Let's flip the script a little bit. Tell me about a mistake you made and how you and your team responded to it.
Analytics, not early enough and often enough. Had a lot of usage in places we didn't know, and a lot of people using different things than we thought they were. And it was all great, right? At the end of the day, it's champagne problems to have a lot of people using your product, but getting the feedback in a way where it was obvious what people wanted, we could have done more effectively earlier. And we've brought on some great people to help us with that. But it was very obvious very early that there was a huge enterprise demand here. And the product from basically the beginning has always been built for that kind of, both Alex and I have enterprise background, so it makes sense that we built an enterprise product. But it was unexpected, or we didn't notice how much there was adoption in certain places in both the enterprise and bottoms-up motions. We, I think, overlooked some of the MCP stuff in the beginning, thinking that it wasn't web native or web ready, and yet then they changed that, right? I think we could have gotten there a little bit earlier if we had better analytics and we saw a little bit more of what people were doing, getting under the covers a little bit more. We've been using, PostHog. That's a good tool. I like PostHog. A little confusing, but it's good. It makes me relearn SQL every now and then. And then some custom usage services and things like that have really helped out. It's just the usage patterns are a lot different. Agents are sporadic. They call tools when they need them. The auth is completely and utterly different. You can't have someone go in and pre-auth 4,000 services. It's got to be at runtime. And so it just changes this whole way that you normally collect product feedback. And we've had to adapt to that. And so I think that wasn't necessarily a mistake, but looking back, I wish we'd gotten that right sooner.
Let's move forward. This will be fun. You're founding member here. You started this thing out. I'm curious about what the future looks like. Like, what are you most excited about? What does the future look like for the company, the product, and for your team?
Sky's the limit. It's a really good place to be. The intersection of being able to provide anyone who's building agents, basically being the arms dealer for agents right now, is probably not the best thing to say, but it feels like it sometimes, in that we just get to give agents superpowers in some ways. We're very soon going to make that even crazier and more impressive. And I think that if you can read the writing on the wall with MCP and what it's doing in the protocol, specifically the operations of the protocol, and where it's bringing focus to tools, and where it's brought, I should say, focus to tools and the capabilities at the tooling layer, and specifically that execution layer of tools, it's not only becoming more agentic, but more important. And we're right there ready for it with the things that it seems like people are needing. And I think we have a roadmap in the next 3 to 6 months that's going to give them something that they didn't even know they did need, which I think in this case is going to be a bottleneck that most people didn't realize with multi-agent systems. And so I think that we'll be able to have soon single agents that maybe don't necessarily need to hand off to other agents, I'll say. That's as specific as I'll get.
Sure. Okay, Sam, let's switch to you. Who influences the way that you work? Name a person or many persons or something you look up to, and why.
So many people. My brothers, they're both incredibly hard workers, taught me pretty much everything. My mom also, single mother, 3 boys. Just work ethic was a thing in our family. It was just something to always fall back on, is work ethic. I had a VC ask me one time if we were an integrations company and if everything came down to just a battle of integrations, which I don't think that's actually the case. It's much different. But I humored him and said, okay, you're asking me if it's a battle of work ethic? I said, bring it. There is very good lessons taught in persistence in this kind of activity, like starting a company. It's so much failure over and over again. And it's a bittersweet lesson, but it's one that I watched people in my family be able to go and do and accomplish great things, and do so through just hard work and persistence. And so I'd say that they're my biggest inspiration. And I'll say outside of that, I have always been a fan of Steve Jobs in the way that he ruthlessly pursued a vision that was contrarian, you should say. Something that it wasn't completely obvious in the beginning that people always needed or wanted. I think I'm just a little bit stubborn, but I've always admired how people like him and Johnny Ives and everybody got together at Apple there and were able to produce something so ahead of what people expected. Just thinking about things like the first iPod. I had the iPod Classic, and I'll just never forget holding what seemed to me like the world's coolest piece of technology at the time. I've been a Mac fanboy ever since because I just loved the design, everything about it. I would say outside of family, then the creators and the people behind Apple is what I should really say.
Okay, Sam, last question. So you're getting on a plane and you're sitting next to a young entrepreneur who's built the next big thing. They're jazzed about it. They can't wait to show it off to the world, and can't wait to show it off to you right there on the plane. What advice do you give that person, having gone down this road a bit?
Buckle up. Be comfortable being uncomfortable. You just got to be willing in every situation to constantly put yourself out there, to constantly take risks, to constantly be okay not having finished something, not having done perfectly, but getting it done, presenting on the stage of a thousand people in front of you after not sleeping for 2 days, things like that you're not optimal, you're not perfect, but when you're okay existing in that level of discomfort, knowing, just having confidence in what you want to do and what you're building and the direction you're headed, you just get used to being uncomfortable, and it's hard to do. So I'd say the earlier you can do it, the better you'll be.
Well, that's fantastic advice. Well, Sam, thanks for being on the show today, and thank you for telling the creation story of Arcade.
Thanks for having me.
And this concludes another chapter of Code Story. Code Story is hosted and produced by Noah Labhart. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the podcasting app of your choice. And when you get a chance, leave us a review. Both things help us out tremendously. And thanks again for listening.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.